This is not the first time some of us is hearing about JSON data structure or JSON data format, but we tend not to understand what actually a JSON itself is. JSON stands for that of JavaScript Object Notation. This way, well, it's kind of a way we can store information in kind of dictionary format or a kind of hierarchy format. So if you don't really understand what I mean by dictionary, in case if you're interested, the link is in the description down below. You can check it, because if you don't understand this dictionary of a guy, it can be a little bit tricky. But that's what you should know, that the information in JSON is being stored in that of dictionary. And when we talk about dictionary, we're looking at what is actually key and value. Just like having, when I say your name, if I say your son name, like maybe I made a colon, a particular colon in a particular table, and I like first name. People write their first name. You can see that that first name is like a key you can use to get the names or other people's name that's within that table. Okay, I explained this in well detail when we are talking about data pandas data framework, when we are doing data analysis. So if you're interested in checking about data analysis, the link is also down in the description down below. So let's actually try to create an example of this, of the JSON example, the JSON format we are talking about. Like I use that of name. Look, I can come here and say what everybody in my class should enter what their first, let's say their first name. This is what I entered. Everybody should enter their first name. I come here, maybe the first guy that entered was Peter. I can say Peter, and the second guy was actually John. Maybe the second guy was actually maybe something like Ken. Like with this form, we have actually created a simple JSON. But one thing you should know about JSON is always includes in this type of dictionary format. This signifies this is the key first name, and this signifies the values. It's not a must, it must be inside of a list. It can decide to be one, it can decide to be purely Peter here, but in most times you might see it to be presented in this way. In case there's a situation whereby there are multiple, maybe a particular key have a multiple items inside of it, you make use of the list to actually store all those information. So why do we get this kind of JSON format? The reason why we make this kind of JSON format, this kind of JSON format is actually being gotten when we API that actually structure its data in this format. For when you get information from database, database store the information in kind of tables. So when you get the information, it turns into that of JSON. The reason why it turns into that of JSON, it can easily be integrated in your application. So with help when storing data in this way, it's easier to integrate it in your application than when it's on that of the table, because when it comes to in this format, it's kind of a hierarchy. You can create a multiple hierarchy on this way. You can like store another dictionary inside of a particular dictionary. Okay, let me just actually do an example. Let me, like, I've just created a simple JSON, so I can call what JSON. Let me just create an example. I can say JSON what format, and then I can set it to equals to like this. I can, when I print out my JSON format, now I print out my word JSON underscore format. Let's actually see what we get. So you can see that we got the same thing. But what happened when I try to target this of the guys? So I can come here and what to actually target a particular element, you just have to put the key. There's I have explained all this simply well in my dictionary video. In my dictionary I talked about dictionary. These are really simple to get. You want to get Peter, you have to what call the key. Like to access the value, this is the value, this is the key. To access the value, you need to call that of the key. But with the help of the key, you can try to access the value. You can say I got Peter. In a situation whereby you want to store multiple items inside there, like how we did at the beginning, you can decide to put it inside of a list. And the other thing I like about this JSON of a guy is that actually you can install another key. You can put another key inside of a dictionary. So I can say, I can come here, maybe I see something like I can say inside there, I can say number one. Can set number one here. This signifies that this Peter was actually number one person. So I can actually store it inside of this dictionary type of format. So you can see that if I want to actually get this Peter of a guy, I need to actually call this of our key. When I call this of our key, I need to actually get the particular index and the desired, which is actually this particular index. So when you call this, it's going to be present to you with this kind of output. So you need to actually call index 1. When you call index 0, when you call index 0, you need to actually call this particular guy. All these things I explain it in list and that of dictionary. The link is in the description down below in case you want to check out list and check out the dictionary. I want to check out dictionary. So it's not a must, it must be in list. You can actually try to remove this list guy. But what you know, when you remove this list guy, if you want to get the output, you can just go direct. Okay, let's just actually get this Peter of a guy. So when I call this first name, we're expecting to get this kind of output. So let's actually run it. and see we get this kind of output like we have. So since this guy this num1 is not the key itself and this is the value, so we can actually directly call this our what num1 here. So once you this is actually 0, so I can once I remember the key have to be unique. You can't make use of multiple key, the same key for multiple values. They are not going to like the output you get. So let's actually run this. We can see we are finally able to get this Peter. So this just basically JSON actually work. Also, I think with this I'm able to explain to you what JSON and why we make use of JSON, right, guys? Because I said like we can create a more and more hierarchy of information inside of a particular key or a value. But when it comes to that of dictionary, when it comes to that of table, we can be a little bit tricky. When it comes to that of table, everything has to be structured in a particular. But when it comes to this of JSON format, it's more flexible for us and it's easier for applications to actually learn how to grab information and make use of it. So I think with this, I've come to the end of this video. If you enjoyed, subscribing won't be a problem. So I'll be happy to see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.